All right, guys, good evening to you. I hope you had a nice day. And for you who are starting a new day, sleep. And as you wake up, may your day be a prosperous day full of production. So back to our edutainment for us. Of course, today I've done 2 videos on your end. And they were just live streams about my current activity. Of course, that which I can share with you. So good evening, Kate. Welcome to my channel. I really appreciate you for being the first top fan #1. And let's now get to a reaction for social events in Yabhanza and possibly the Guinness Book of Records for Muthoni at Meru. How long can you stand to hug a tree? Of course, she did a challenge taking 72 hours of defense to the trees. Now, Muthoni actually comes after Wangari Maathai, among other people who have been champions in ensuring that the environment is kept safe. Most of us possibly have been participating in safety of trees or the environment, but maybe we have not done what Muthoni has done. So we want to start with that before we go to Yabhanza stuff. And I always like mixing stuff because I know there are those who are fans of appreciating some other stuff away from what I might be looking at. So guys, let's go after it and see this endeavor. And this is it.
I learned that ChatGPT
Oh my
works
God,
best with detailed prompts,
ChatGPT.
but I hate typing them. So instead, I dictate them using whisper flow while walking.
So actually there is this girl known as Gathoni Trufena in Nyeri. She came up with a challenge of hugging a tree for 45 hours. She targeted 72, but I'm not sure whether she managed to do that. So Trufena Muthoni, actually in Nyeri, she came to a tree and hugged for 45 hours, something that attracted a lot of residents to come and watch over, and she spoke out what she is championing right here. Now, it's a unique thing sometimes to do this. When you talk about nature in Africa, most people ignore nature. You might find places which individuals are so much interested in maintaining trees, flowers, the general environment, maybe landscaping, and all that. But in Africa, there are moments when we don't appreciate even the trees. We don't see life in trees. However much we study in biology and talk about trees as a kind of something that exists just like human beings do, for us, most times we just find ourselves cutting trees when we want to use them, and we do not really care about replacing. There are moments also we don't really appreciate, especially indigenous trees. Now, indigenous trees are not very common in the current or modern life. You will find that people are planting trees just for the purposes of cutting them after a while, maybe to sell them off or use them in construction, among other stuff, and wood maybe and all that, okay? So it's not common to find some indigenous trees unless you go to areas where people have not really cut down the entire forest to create area for construction, or maybe they are still doing grazing in such areas. So there are specific areas within Kenya. If you travel, you'll see thick forests, and some of them will consist natural trees. But who cares about whether they are there or not? Unless someone is studying botany, you hardly find anyone interested in that. So when people like Muthoni Trufena, who is a Gen Z, comes up to remind us on the beauty of nature, especially trees and maintenance of trees, it is something you have to talk about. And maybe let me challenge you as a Gen Z or Alpha or whichever other generation, millennium or whatever you are. Have you ever thought of life in trees and what you can do that is unique to remind people on the essence of maintaining indigenous trees? And do you even know the types of indigenous trees that are supposed to be nurtured in our country? Of course, currently you'll find people going for eucalyptus, cypress, among others. Lucy, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on my channel, and I hope you're fine. So guys, let's start with that before we get to Yabhanza, because the story of Truphena is far off from Yabhanza. That's from Nyeri. So this girl was actually conducting something very unique. And of course, with the nature of Kenyan Gen Z, I know there'll be a challenge. Of course, there should be one already on maybe Facebook or WhatsApp with people trying to engage in this challenge. But how serious are you about what Truphena did? Do you really mean business in what you'll be doing, or you'll be doing it as a joke or content creation? So let's check into Truphena Mudhoni from Nyeri, and then after that we can get to Yabhanza and talk about Nasto, Amaja, among others. Whether it's Mayugno or Gitriba, we do have all the time to do that. So let's check at this, and you are free to drop a comment in relation to this.
I am a defender of the forests and a world record holder for the longest marathon hugging a tree. I also defend the rights of indigenous trees and indigenous peoples. So I am attempting to break my own world record by extending it into 72 hours of environmental endurance here at the office of the governor in Nyeri County.
Right now in Nyeri County, a 22-year-old Kenyan activist is holding onto a tree with a determination that is quickly becoming a national moment. Truphena Mudhoni has just crossed the 45-hour mark of non-stop tree-hugging marathon. No food, no water, no sleep, not even a bathroom break. She's aiming for 72 hours, a record that would rewrite not just Guinness books, but the conversation around Kenya's climate. The rains have hit her, night temperatures have tested her, but the grip hasn't loosened.
Tree hugging has a lot of benefits, and one of them is therapy. It's very therapeutic, and especially in times where we are experiencing climate injustices and the mental health crisis that is directly connected to environmental degradation, like wildfires, droughts, and maybe floods. Victims have post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's important for them to know that we can come back to nature and get healing.
The challenge began on December 8th, midday. A crowd gathered quietly at Nyeri. Governor Mutahi Kahiga flagged her off. No festival, no big rally, just a young woman pressing her palms and cheeks to a tree trunk. Eyes closed, breathing in, bracing for 3 days of total endurance. Mudhoni isn't doing this for publicity. She knows the camera's help, but the motive behind the stunt is a blend of activism, science, and her personal journey with mental health.
Also, it's some form of protest that is very peaceful, and also it's important because it bypasses leaders or all these people that you want them to hear us. It bypasses their defenses because it's peaceful and there's no chaos, so it triggers their humanity, yeah. And to respond to the cries of indigenous people, of our forests, of our animals and children. Yes, so also I am doing this to also encourage people to just to make them fall in love with nature so that they do not hurt nature. And also because I believe that conservation begins with love, and that we must nurture 1 million trees before we plant 1 million trees.
Early in February 2025, she stunned the world after hugging a tree for 48 hours at John Michuki Memorial Park. That feat demolished the previous global record of 24 hours and 21 minutes held by Ghana's Abdul Hakim Awal. But what made her story trend globally wasn't the hours, it was the contest. Mudhoni has openly described herself as a mental health survivor who found peace through forest therapy, a practice supported by science showing that touching trees lowers cortisol, reduces anxiety.
Alright guys, so I don't know whether many of you actually knew that trees offer serenity, or rather they help heal mental health problems. Many people have fallen into mental problems with a variety of what I may not be able to mention currently because there are so many: schizophrenia, we have postpartum, and so many others. Even ADHD is part of it, though it's more of anxiety that is related to restlessness and all that. But we have so many, cases of mental health, some of which people could actually heal through hugging of trees, as indicated by Trufena Mudhoni. Now, the difference between her and maybe others who've had to protect nature is that they have done through acts, maybe planting of trees, campaigns, and maybe writing articles. But hers is unique. Of course, we've already had earlier on an individual who did the hugging of trees, but it did not go up to 72 hours as targeted by Trufena. And of course, she comes out to share a lot of information surrounding trees, something I've already had on meditation, especially when you read through Japanese literature, and also the Japanese people and the Indians, or rather Asians in general. So recently, you remember, there's a time where Marua went to Kilifi, and I think there was something about tree hugging, and a lot of people reacted asking whether he was mentally disturbed. And I began asking myself, does it mean if somebody hugs a tree, they have a mental disturbance? And of course, I now understand, I get the genesis of why people are relating to this. So do you think maybe Maro was mentally disturbed based on his situations back at home, and that's why he tried to hug a tree, though he didn't manage to do that? That tree was too big, right, in Kilifi. It was a very big tree. And all he had to do is to go through the processes of meditation and all that. And most of us had a lot of questions. So I don't know whether the narrative now changes. Rohit Mehta, welcome. Thank you so much for coming to the channel. And we have now understood. Of course, we'll be following this story to just understand. Sun is here again. And a lot of people actually gathered around, Nyeri to just take videos, pictures, and to be mesmerized. I was like, if we have other mental, cases of people who want to get to heal, how can they be helped to start hugging trees? Because I'm trying to understand, because I've really related a lot with the Japanese people and also the people from Korea. And of course, they really value nature. That's why I'm saying, no wonder when you look at their poems, most of them, they are haiku poems. Haiku poems focus on nature, whether it's the serenity of the river. If you love the river, then you go around the river and just sit around there. If you are a lover of the trees, then you go to a forest, grab some tree, or in a garden. Now, what I'm wondering is, who was keeping the safety of Trufena, because she's a Gen Z girl, and if people are gathering there during the day as they are, I wonder if they're also doing the same the entire night, because for her to spend 72 hours here, it means she will have to sleep here. Is it 3 nights? Possibly 3, right? Yeah. 24 by 3 gives 72. 3 days holding a tree without eating, without drinking anything, and just talking about the essence of trees in the lives of the people. I don't know, who can now try another, maybe a kind of challenge that is more than 72 hours, and possibly with the same intentions, or maybe different, because what we know is someone can start something and people can learn from it and try more. I don't know, somebody is trying to send messages that maybe are not acceptable with YouTube. That's why they are holding at least 5 messages have been held by that is YouTube, and they are on review. So please, if you are coming here, consider to be to use a language that is polite and also acceptable. because if you post anything that's not acceptable, automatically YouTube holds it. Eva Watson, Africa Lab, welcome to Africa, Kenya particularly, and thank you so much for coming to my channel. Anybody who is new here can subscribe. I know San has been here, Everton has been here, Rohit Mentha, you seem to be new, Lucy has always been here, Kate has always been here. So welcome once more, and I still insist, or rather remind you to subscribe to the channel and also like the video. So let's just finish the part of Truphena Muthoni so that we can move on to Marua and the rest of the staff back in Yabhanza.
Rain pounded Nyeri, her clothes were soaked, temperatures dropped, and her team could only watch. She didn't move. Locals say she looked exhausted, but anchored like someone refusing to surrender a message. By this morning, December 10th, she had about 27 hours left. The crowd has grown. School children have passed by. Elders have offered prayers. Online supporters have flooded her Facebook page with encouragement. One of the most powerful gestures of this challenge is still ahead. After crossing 48 hours, she plans to hug the tree blindfolded for 3 hours, a tribute to the visually impaired and a metaphor for communities globally who face climate threats they cannot see coming. It is a subtle political statement. Climate injustice hits vulnerable groups first and hardest.
So of course, guys, you realize that the people who have rerouted their way to Nyeri are not just the residents of Nyeri. You can see Alfred, not Alfred Mutua actually, but Patrice Lumumba right there. And I can see many other people who are watching her from the tree itself, and they don't come from Nyeri. So you realize that her message is very strong, talking about the injustices that are being conducted. And I just wonder, of course, I'm not conducting a political reaction. I'll be going back to it. It's very surprising that yesterday our own president endorsed the, the building of several hotels in a park. And that is going to affect the wild beasts and other animals. We automatically understand that even when you're doing construction of roads, it affects the, the movement of animals, including, let's say, elephants and what have you. Now, what about this idea of the president allowing the construction of hotels in a park with the interest of actually having high-end hotels in this park? According to him, he said that the parks will be actually allowing a $1,000 expenditure, possibly from a customer. And I was like, all right, it might look like he's very good at, deriving money from these tourists. Unfortunately, it's going to affect the, the survival of wild beasts, because wild beasts normally create their own path, and that path is already in the park. But now, if hotels are being constructed, it goes without doubt that the route of these animals are going to be affected. Anyway, do your own research and drop a comment in relation to that. Now, let's turn back to other information away from Muthoni, and that takes us to Yabhanza. And guys, you understand recently, Marua was targeting to buy land for his horses, and he said that the only way to survive in this village is to keep buying their land and displacing the villagers. What, that's a selfish thought, right? Of course, those villagers don't have otherwise. They'll sell their land and they'll be willing maybe to relocate. But then what? It's some sort of selfish act. And as far as sometimes we blame those villagers for being drunk and selling their land, sometimes they have very limited options. Look at Murimi and what happened. I think currently, as Max One is helping him construct a house, he's really regretting for having sold his land to D. Mwango, because he could have had another option of surviving instead of selling his own land. Now, we check at Marua. Of course, yesterday we have 2 guests who came from USA, Jamaican for that case, and they were targeting to invest, possibly buy land. And of course, we know very well in Kenya, even though we keep saying that foreigners cannot own property, I'm just wondering, because recently with the failure to vet people from outside, and given that we have so many Tanzanians who have bought land even on the other borders of Taita Taveta and also Nyabohanse from the Hispania borders, that tells me that it's not a problem for them to later on acquire maybe documents and have that land owned by them. Saiko Sena, welcome. You seem to be new. You know, I always know people have been watching me for a long time. So please subscribe to the channel and drop a comment. So let's take on something here in relation to what Marua has just said. I don't know whether we'll get the specific video. I'm trying so much to get it, but I'm not so sure whether I will. But if I don't, you will bear with me. Of course, I'm already a bearer of that, that information. So let's just check and see the part where Marua was telling foreigners that the only way to survive in the village is to push away the villagers, buy their land and occupy it. So that clearly tells us that he has evil intentions of dynasty in these environments and keep off the villagers. Of course, when you look around Nyabohansa, you can see from Gitriba to Mayugno to Maja to the other guy, that is Nasto, and the rest of them, Jamaican uncle, Jamaican grandma, and all from what's happening. But I want us to check on iamarwa for that, and we see what's happening right here. So where's this video? There's a video I wanted to show in relation to this. I don't know whether it's this. All right.
Hi guys, so we've started training of raindrop. It's been a very
Lydia? Huh? You were lost.
Hello my brother. That one does not represent the company. It's unfortunate. So and me accept like that. Yeah, they put fingerprint. Yeah, it's always good like that because what happens is in future maybe their kids will grow and say, no, maybe you gave my dad peanuts. Showing up that this is my
So in this video, Marua came up to give these foreigners a strategy of grabbing the villagers' land. He was actually hinting to them how easy it is to scam the people in Nyabohanse and get their land and then push them away. He has revealed what he has been doing for the longest time possible. Of course, most reactors have been sharing what has been happening. But then, people have been standing against that, saying it doesn't happen, this is not true. But then, Marua himself forgets so much that people have been talking about it and comes out and shares what many people have been talking about. So let's just check on this.
is passing through this place, so I want you to give me some money. So we had to pay like 3 different people. Oh my God. So everybody was showing up that. Like, it seems they called each other. Yeah, it seems so. Because there were a lot of many people there, like somehow like 30 people. 30? Yeah. Because we bought 1 crate of soda and everybody got one. Oh, I know that attracts too many people. But even before the soda, there are many people there. But also it's good like that, so that even you are assured you bought land. It's not like they never didn't see you. You know, here we like witnesses a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but so how much money did they ask you guys at the end? These guys that we used like almost 23. 23? Oh, because everybody was saying, here's mine, here's mine, here's mine. But it's okay, now you have a road forever. Yeah. You don't have to worry. Yeah. You know, that's, and sometimes such things you could have called me, I call the chief. Because when they sell you like that, yeah, they put fingerprint. Yeah, it's always good like that because what happens is in future maybe their kids will grow and say, no, maybe you gave my dad peanuts. Yeah, sometimes they can, but because you did like that and you guys recorded, so nobody will come to disturb you. Yeah, the surveyor. But here, me, I believe the chief more than the surveyor, because the chief knows everybody's character.
All right, guys. So Marua is tipping to my Kizo that the only way when you're buying land in Yabhanza is to actually engage the chief. Guys, I want to ask you, if you're buying land in a given place, would you trust a chief more or the surveyor? Because, of course, the chief can be there as a witness, but I believe the surveyor people are very important because they give you documentation on land. They are the people who have all the maps of land in a certain area. So I don't know when Marwa says this, is he ignorant or how do things happen in Yabhanza? Because I've dealt with land in different places, including the capital city and different areas. And what I know, survey people have maps of all places. The chief is one person who may know character of people, but even if he decides to collude with the owner of the land, there's nothing you can do. But you can only call him as a witness and give him something. At the same time, you must have survey to be there. You pay a certain amount. Of course, there are areas, and you just know. If you're buying a plot, there are areas where one plot is you are supposed to pay around 10,000. For them to be there and offer you your own allocation. Maybe sometimes we call them if we don't have land title deeds, they have some allotment letters or something like that. So I don't understand when Marwa is advising my Kizo that he would have trusted the chief more than having the survey people. I'm like, okay, do we have some kind of lack of knowledge? I'm not so sure. But you can correct me if you think maybe in your place a chief is better than the surveyor. That's the first time I'm getting this. I'm totally shocked. I'm totally shocked that there's a place in this country, if you're buying land, you should trust the chief more than the survey people. The survey people have everything, and those are the people you can use injunctions if maybe someone you have trouble on land, and they can also give you advice in case you need any. So I had this and I just had to let it pass anyway. But the reality is that Yabhanza people have a lot of trouble because now YouTubers in Yabhanza started long ago. They have lots of money and donors and they can easily buy land. So if you are in Yabhanza and you are unwilling to develop yourself, what these people do is simply coming to talk to you, make you believe that they are helping you, when in reality they are creating, a kind of squatter. And I don't know whether these people can be sensitized. No wonder maybe people like Gintu are finding it very difficult to survive with a lot of wars from left to right. Of course, yesterday you had me doing a reaction on Gintu. And it happened that Gintu and Percy must have gone through a history. Maybe they had a relationship that actually let loose. I'm not so sure about that. But then when you look at the pain with which Percy is talking about Gintu, it is actually very, very funny, and you would have to use the third intellect to understand her story. But anyway, let's move on with this.
This. And the good thing about the chief is he's always here. His home is here. If anything goes wrong, you go to his home. But surveyors move sometimes with officers. Yeah, they can stay here. After maybe 3 months, business is not booming for them here. They go to Nairobi. Yeah. 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 Okay.
All right. Let's leave alone that because, of course, Marwa normally pretends to know so much. But in reality, it's only lucky that he has enough wealth that has made him safe because of that. But the reality is what I know. Even if surveyors move from one location to another, the office still remains with documents. And they have no right to move with your. And I went to the surveyors in a certain area. Those to remain there, I have to have a copy, and the land, the person who sold should also have a copy. So there's no way you say that the chief is always there. The chief can also die, right? They are not immortal, are they? They are not. And if the chief, in fact, decides to jilt you, he can jilt you easier than even that surveyor, because surveyors are legally working from offices. The chief is only working from within the locality, and if they actually get into an agreement with the land seller, it can be the worst situation you ever face. Anyway, as I talk about now, Nasto and Maja. Nasto and Maja have been very close friends to Marwa, and they began to develop themselves, get donors, and of course currently Nasto is doing almost 3 or 4 constructions, constructing for the mother, the sister, himself, and all that. Maja also comes from a wealthy family, and of course we saw him fall out with Marwa during the construction of Brian's grandma's home. When he was told not to record videos from that home, he decided to come out and react towards it and share out what he thought about Marwa. And of course I believe since then he's no longer a friend, right? So in this case, when I read what Marua was saying, that he has been betrayed by friends by buying what he went to buy, of course people have come up and they think that the person who did that must be particularly Nasto. Nasto went ahead and bought land that Marua and the sister were targeting to buy. And I'm like, why are you people fighting for land in one place? I don't believe in putting all my eggs in one basket. When you are buying land for investment, you need to actually diversify. There are so many, kind of bigger towns around your place. Even in Yabhanza itself, we have Migori, we have even Kisumu if you move a little bit far. We have Isbania itself on the borders. And you as a travel commander of Africa, how do you invest only in Yabhanza village? You can even get to invest elsewhere in other places, like even the coast itself where you like going for holidays. You can do it. But now Mara is so funny. He wants to put all his money in Nyabohanza because he said when he marries a wife and he has invested very far, possibly people would take that wife would want to take that away from him. And I'm like, will you live on this earth forever? Sometimes we just risk, because of course diversifying wealth is important. While land in my village may not earn me a lot, land in another place like Kilifi or maybe Mombasa, as long as I've ensured it's secure, we'll do it. How many white people have come from America and invested even in beach hotels in Mombasa? And they are doing well. So I just don't understand this fear that Marwa, puts on, and he has done a big villa in the village, which becomes useless because look at him. In 1 year, maybe he receives only 10 visitors. And of course, even if they pay, would that be equal to a hotel he would have done maybe in Kisumu or Mombasa or wherever? Because he has money. This is someone who receives $1,000 from one donor, and he has so many donors, so he receives a lot of money. Yeah, so I just don't understand why they are really fighting over land in Yabhanza and actually claiming to be enemies. So Marwa came up to say that if people don't see him with these friends, they should not ask questions, which he always says. You remember that at the time that he saw Gitriba driving away with the Rosho, then he came about and said that if you don't see me with Gitriba, don't ask. And we were like, okay. So many people made videos saying that possibly Rosho was cheating with Gitriba, and that's why he was so annoyed, because Rosho left with that vehicle and he had not told Marwa. Just Marwa saw the vehicle which had already been scratched and began to make a lot of noise, and from there was a fight. Rosho ran to Nairobi. She stayed in a B&B. She had to fake malaria, serious malaria. Marwa had to go for her, and then back home they had bought now the freezer and many other things, with donors sympathizing with the situation. Now you realize that these are kind of games. You don't know whether it's a script, a game, or life itself as it's moving, and fate, I don't know. Now I don't have to really take a lot of time on that, because we've already taken enough, 34 minutes down that, okay? Now I want us to move to the next item, and this is Murimi for you, okay? This is Murimi for you. MacArthur Louis Saint says, make America great again. How are you making America great?
entire thing, you go to his home. But surveyors move sometimes with officers. Yeah, they can stay here after maybe 3, at least things are okay. You know, my dad is kind of rough. They cannot push him around. No. Hi, guys, we have visitors. I will introduce them later, but let me show them at least their.
What is this?
Don't worry. I'll give you a good medicine to deal with them. The idea is go look for more money and just buy the entire thing. The entire thing. You buy and buy and buy everything. You don't have a neighbor. Yeah, that is, and you'll not have any problem. Even me, I just bought another land the other day here. Only road. For actually $600, 70,000 Kenyan shillings. From here to my garage. Yeah, right here. I will take even there, you see. Yeah, because sometimes people, they say, you have money. You have money. But,
okay, so Marua came out to the group explaining how he now deals with the villagers. And do you know what he said? He said that when he wants to deal with villagers to silence them, he buys their land. He goes, gets more money and buys their land. So he's actually giving a secret to my Kizo. He is telling my Kizo he will give him a secret or medicine to deal with villagers. Once they have bought the piece of land, some part of the land, the next thing is to go get more money and buy the entire place, so that at the end of the day, the villagers have no space. Now, people have been talking about this. The team Marua have never accepted that Marua is actually being unfair to the villagers. Of course, nobody stops anyone from buying land. But then when you buy with such an intention to actually displace people, it is the worst thing ever to do. Why can't you buy this land with an intention to also promote their life? Because who doesn't want a growth? I want to just ask you people, the team Marua, do you realize that everybody in this world, including the poorest amongst us, always sleeps wishing for the best day tomorrow? I don't think there is anybody in this world who sleeps just knowing that tomorrow I don't want to be better. Just show me one and I'll be satisfied with you. But in my knowledge and from where I stand, all I know that everybody wishes to be better tomorrow. And so even when they sell that land, possibly it's their dream maybe to educate their kids, to maybe treat the illness that is haunting them, do a better house, fence their home, such things. Unfortunately, because the land in Yabhanza is being sold very cheaply, not much can be done with that kind of money they buy. You can see Marua complaining over 7,000 shillings, and he's a guy who is making a lot of money even in a month. So which means, and we have seen a lot of time Marua bargaining a lot, even when something is just openly supposed to be sold at that price. Even the girls who come to sell sugarcane, like bananas, he bargains a lot. He doesn't just buy because he can empower them. So automatically even the land, he must bargain about it. And now he goes to pick the chief because he knows the chief will always get into raw deals like that. As he has revealed here, he doesn't trust in surveyors, And within this video, he was sharing how he was betrayed by some friends. And people are guessing that it's Mayugno, but I don't think. Mayugno has sworn never to betray Marua. Maybe he will betray one day, who knows? These things just happen. Never swear and stand by that. Situations change and something can happen. Now, others were thinking it's Gitriba, but I don't think Gitriba can buy land currently. He is partly struggling and he was doing a house. He's constructing his own villa. So I don't think Gitriba can actually do this. So my guess also falls on Maja K, and Nasto. Because Nasto has always been on the verge to actually attach himself to Marua, but with not an intention to promote Marua. He always just wants to feign. Why does he feign friendship? He knows that Team Marua will always trust in Marua. When you become Team Marua, there are people who will automatically follow you, even when they don't want to watch you, just because you are actually praising, worshiping Marua, and supporting Marua. So he knows that, and that's why he has had to hang around Marua and always pin him on his videos, sometimes even when it's not necessary. When Marua receives guests, he will be there making videos with them so that those who are watching Marua will also be watching him and checking on his channels, and he'll also receive donors to support the projects he's conducting. Ask yourself where he's getting money to actually construct his home. He is now constructing a bigger house in his home. He is at the same time constructing a house for the sister, and they are very decent homes, by the way, very good houses compared to even that big villa that Marua has constructed in his home. Very good, decent houses. The mothers, the sisters, he's on. So before we know it, Nasto will have constructed even 10 houses in that place, bought so many pieces of land for different people around his family. And of course, he's someone who is very discreet. He doesn't share everything on camera like Marwa. Now you realize that even when he buys some land, he doesn't share. Even when he started constructing his house, he started just showing when it's already there. He didn't hint into it. Some things he's been hiding, just like he used to pretend not to have been married. And the women in America, because they love this guy with dimples, could believe that they are hallucinating. One day they might even marry him, and they could send a lot of money. Only for one YouTuber to come up and hint online that Nasto is married. And that's how it came out, and people now learned that he is married. And of course, now we see the wife cooking and doing her stuff. She's really trending, of course. But anyway, it is what it is, guys. Of course, I'll not be showing receipts on Nasto and whatever, but you can go back to other people. I think Nairobi Teacher has done a reaction the same. JT has done one. Also on trending. Maybe Neo Trends, I've not checked it. I've also seen another guy, but I didn't even have time to check because of my busy schedule. So you can bear with me so that I can also start another video. I want to finish and rest, you know. So someone says, welcome to Tanzania. Thank you. I'll be talking about Tanzania and Uganda very soon. I will be talking about that. MacArthur says Trump 2028. You want to have Trump? What do you mean? Trump 2028? All right. So that is it in Yabhanza. Let's get to Murimi. On Max 1 came up with a video. Max 1 came up with a video to show us about Murimi marrying another woman. I was like, okay. So Murimi, you can't even wait. You can't even wait. You had to marry immediately, even before the house is complete. Okay, so this tells us that these people, he himself was complaining about Halima, but possibly Murimi was already even having another relationship or cheating. Who knows? You know, you remember Halima came out to complain that Murimi doesn't sleep in the house, and I can actually now see. You know, it's not easy for just a man to, you leave a home for 1 month and the man already has another wife. Or a woman leave your house and in a month you are having another man. That means you already have someone somewhere. So let's just go into facts. And I want you to drop a comment if you believe in what I'm saying. Let's check on this.
Slow melting.
Family, we've come to the conclusion of the day, and I want to say that also here we have Murimi 001. Murimi create the people. Okay. Hello people. I'm fine. I go by the name Murimi 001. Yeah, and I really appreciate you because it has been a day and it's almost around the 11 p.m. No?
11 p.m.
No, 5 p.m.
Yes.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. And today is today, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna be speaking through this camera and I'm gonna be speaking the truth. Voice. Yeah, I'm gonna be speaking the truth, you know? I'm gonna be speaking, you know, at long last. Even you lie, you know, you have to bear everything. Yeah? And she's my brother's wife. Yeah? And,
Okay. So Murimi tells us now, testifies that he has been lying, but at the end of it, he has to reveal the truth. And I was like, let's wait for the truth and see. Of course, from the title, we can see it, but sometimes the people in Yabhanza do what we call clickbait. So let's just check on what Murimi had to share. Let's check on him.
at long last, I've decided to reveal it, through this camera. It's very, very marvelous. Do you know what I want to speak about? No. No. You're there.
I'm there.
You're there.
Reveal it, because now it is not a secret anymore.
Okay. No secrets no more. Okay. I'm married. And sincerely speaking, I'm married to...
And where's the wife? Yes.
This beautiful lady. Yeah, she's here. She's my fiance. And I think that, God willing, I'm gonna giving something to their home because, it's...
I'm just wondering, the lady seems to be kind of distanced, afraid. Murimi is trying to pull, to really hold her by the waist, and she's unwilling to. Guys, are you reading what I'm reading? And even Murimi himself has distanced from the lady. Okay, drama is beginning.
Yeah, it's good, and I leave it down. Are you happy with me? I'm very okay. Yeah. Are you happy with me? Yeah.
No, she's shy.
Yeah, she's shy.
The first time she's
being introduced into the country, Okay. Are you happy with me? Are you happy with me? Yes. Okay. Thank you a lot. She's now the one I've chosen so that she can be my helper. Yeah, I really appreciate it, and I'm gonna be yelling into my video. Yeah, and I really appreciate bro, ma.
Yes. For me,
It's a funny introduction online anyway. I don't know why these people... We saw recently Mapopo actually having a lot of drama online for having introduced the wife online. We saw another drama with Gintu, and also there was still a third drama with Masubo. I don't know why these people in Yabhanza keep introducing their wives on camera, and they're the ones who are dominating. All right? I don't actually reject or, I do not feel like it's wrong, but then how they do it, that's my question. Because Mapopo came complaining that when he introduced the wife on camera, so many YouTubers were interested, donors, and some of the donors even keep asking their wives for nudes. They even come for their wives and say, you are beautiful, can I do this for you so that I can take you to wherever? Just like Halima was, went through the same. But it is what it is. Yabhanza has drama. And drama has just started in Murimi's life. Maybe more will be coming. Who knows? There'll be more that will be coming. So let's go to the second video of the day. The fourth, I think. For today, I've really done a lot. I'm going to the fourth video of the day. So bye-bye on this channel, but we are coming back just immediately.